everybody. This is Takedown Wrestling. You're with Tony Hager, and we are with Matt McDonough, and we are talking a little Agon, big event that's coming up next Friday. And Matt's a three-time All-American, two-time state champ, and a stat that doesn't get talked about a lot is he has the 11th most wins in Iowa history, and that's something to hang your hat on if I was Matt McDonough, that's for sure. I mean, obviously first would be the best, but Matt, you got to be happy about that.
Yeah, it's not something I think about very often, and hearing you say that, I didn't even know that, so that's a good number to have to kind of remember in your mind. But there's more to be done, and there's things that I still want to accomplish in the future.
Yeah, and we've switched the international style. College is behind us. You're a big part of the college program still with the lightweights, I know, in the room. And, let's talk about, some of your recent international success. It was Paris the last time you wrestled?
Yep, I wrestled at Paris. I actually wrestled at 57 kilos, and I was a little salty after my day of competition, so I chose to make weight at 61 kilos too, and that's actually where I earned a bronze medal.
Yeah, I mean, the bumping up to 61 kilos, and you went had a tough loss in the semis. You kind of got caught. I remember watching the match, and then you battled back to get bronze, and I think that shows what you're all about to battle back to get that after having a bad day, and going 1-1. And, as your transition here into international, do you feel like your style has changed since college at all?
Absolutely. It has to change a little bit. It, sorry. It has to change. It has to adapt. You have to get better at what, what you do. And you have to learn how to adjust your wrestling so that when you're going over and wrestling these foreigners with the different competition and their different styles, that you're prepared for that. So there's always adapting and getting better that you need to do.
Who has had like the most influence on you changing your style up to international?
Tom, Terry, but there's several people, but those are the two that come most to mind.
You still there?
Yep, I'm still here.
Okay.
My phone, everything's going crazy.
It's
People are all around. It's life, right?
Yep. So
That's how life works.
The international circuit, you get some good guys around you pushing you, and you get to compete with your teammates. How great of an experience is that to be able to not have the Hawkeye College wrestling team, and then now you've got your Hawkeye Wrestling Club team, and how good have those connections been to you?
It's a dream come true being able to wrestle along with the guys I wrestled with in college. We feed off each other. Everyone wants to be the toughest guy in the room, and that's what you have to. That's what you have to do on a daily basis, is challenge yourself. And who better to challenge yourself against than some of your teammates? Sorry, I'm just gonna move outside here for just a second.
Hey, you're just showing that you're a real person. You
there
got
you go.
Daily life stuff to deal with. Well,
Yep.
I'll try to get you off the phone here. Let's get to this match. Let's get to this match. And Agon is one of the biggest events that's going to happen, I think, for Hawkeyes outside of Carver Hawkeye Arena. And this is a Big Ten rematch from roughly 6 years ago. You were 32-0 as a freshman, and he beat you in the Big Ten finals, and you didn't get a chance to wrestle him again. Is that kind of how this match got put together? As you remember that match, you didn't get a chance.
I'd definitely say there's a large factor in that. Asking, and people always floating around, who do you want to see McDonough wrestle, or who do you want to see at Agon? And I think I said something on Twitter, not jokingly, not serious, not anything, just yeah, I'll wrestle Angel Escobedo, and that's something that's always been on my mind to a certain extent. You always remember losses, and especially when you never get another chance to avenge it. And I've never had another chance to wrestle him, so I'm really looking forward to this match next weekend at the U.S. Cellular Center. There was a tough match my freshman year. It was my only loss that year. It was a hard fought battle, and he's made himself prevalent on the international scene, and that's just another chance to go out there against a formidable opponent and show that you are ready to compete.
And with the match next week, and since you haven't wrestled since the end of February or start of February, I think is when it was, you obviously have a chance to wrestle in the Hawkeye Wrestling Room and getting those guys ready for Big Tens and St. Louis last week. And so much time you have invested with those kids, probably Gilman the most from what I know. What are your thoughts on his experience this past weekend, and what did you say to him after the tournament was all over?
We haven't really had a chance to exchange a lot of words. Obviously, they're kind of getting ready in their way throughout the tournament and after each match. The coaches and everyone. So you want to stay stay as objective as you can and just let them do their thing, because these are guys that have done it their whole lives, so they know how to handle those situations. But I would say he had a very good tournament, but there were things that could have gone more his way, and he would say the same thing, although he would probably say he wanted to go out there and win the national title, and I wouldn't expect any less from him.
And that's kind of what I was getting to. Hawkeyes always want to win a national
selfish.
championship, and he had a great tournament. Yeah, exactly. And that's not a bad thing in my mind to have. That's for sure. He came back, and I thought he wrestled real tough. And when you do get the chance to talk to him, I'm sure you'll be able to explain to him that there's lots of wrestling left to do and to accomplish his goals. And with what you experienced down there as a coach and what you saw and what didn't happen, a national title runner-up is never fun for the black and gold. Has that kind of fueled your fire a little bit these next 2 weeks going into Agon?
It always fuels your fire. It doesn't matter whether you're a fan, a wrestler, a coach, athletic trainer. Everyone here at the University of Iowa wants to win, and people like almost joke that, man, they can't even be happy with second. And you know what? We aren't happy with second. There are things to be proud of and things to look back upon and go, we did some good things, but are you ever really satisfied when you don't get the top prize? And I think that's how it should be. I mean, this is America, and that's how we are as Americans. Yeah, it always fires me up no matter what. I remember what it was like, and I want more than anything for these guys to have that team title, to have their own Big Ten title, to have their own national title. And when that doesn't happen, I hurt for them, but I hurt for Iowa and what we are still trying to accomplish day in and day out. And right now as a competitor, my ultimate best way to help do that is to go out and compete and win. And when I can help in other ways, I will. But I think my best way to show Hawkeye Nation, and the rest of the nation and the rest of the world what Iowa's about is to go out and win myself.
I truly think Iowa against the world is such a great headline for this, because if you were in the stands or anywhere in the arena this past week, it just felt like everyone was against Iowa, and it's always been like that. And that's what, as fans, it fuels them, and it's got to even do it even more for the wrestlers competing. I talked to Alex Marinelli a little bit, and he's like, I love this situation that I'm going to be in in a couple of years. I hope. I hope there's people rooting against me because I'm in the black and gold singlet, and that's what's so great about this event. There's going to be a group of people cheering for all the Hawkeyes. There's going to be people cheering for every single person that's up against a Hawkeye. And I want to run through these real quick, and these matchups that a couple that I want to talk to you a bit about the younger kids. And I don't know if you had a whole lot of chance to see them wrestle, but Marinelli is somebody that I'm real excited to get into the room. And Kemmerer, what are your thoughts on those two guys coming into the room here in a couple years?
It's pretty awesome having groups of guys like that are signing on, and they know what they're getting into, and they're excited about getting in that black and gold singlet. A guy like Kemmerer is, he's exactly what we want. He works his tail off. He goes out and gets the job done every time, and he's taking all challengers. He's wrestled now in this in the Dapper Dan, and now he's coming to Iowa to wrestle in the world. And, he just finished off a spectacular senior season, and he's still hungry for more. So, you couldn't ask for more in a guy like that. Alex Marinelli is one tough SOB, and he wants to be the number one guy in the country. He wants to wrestle whoever he needs to wrestle so he can be the number one guy in the country, and, he wants to dominate. And I think that he really believes in himself, and you want someone that both believes in themselves but also is willing to do what it takes, training right, eating right, sleeping right, living their daily lives right, and he's all about being the best he can, and that's what you want.
And I'm going to let you go here, but real quick, who and where? How can fans get your wrestling gear, and how can they follow you along on Twitter, Matt?
My Twitter is at McDominate16, McDominate 16. That's on Twitter. And then I sell some gear personally, especially when I do wrestling camps. So I would encourage anyone who's interested in clinics or a camp to direct message me or contact me over Twitter or over social media. And I also have apparel that I'm working on getting out to the general public through an online website as we speak, but it's always a work in progress. And, if all else, just give me a call.
Sounds good. Well, again, we've been talking with Matt McDonough, wrestling Angel Escobedo at Agon 5 next Friday, April 3rd. You can go to agonwc.com, get your tickets, get there, whether you're a Hawkeye fan or Iowa State fan, any kind of fan, get there, put on a show that Iowa is definitely the capital of wrestling. And again, for everybody at Takedown, wish you the best of luck, Matt, in this match, and then your international success.
Thank you.